Hi, my name is Brady Koyman. I'm 21.
Caitlin, 22.
My name is Kenya Lindstrom and I'm 21 years old.
I'm Madeline Domingo. I'm 19 years old.
I'm Micah and I'm 18 years old.
I'm Raylene Estrada and I'm 20 years old.
Brian Colsey, age 58. Chris Young, so I'm 55 now.
My name is Camille Belmont and I'm 78.
My name is Bob Marr. I'm age 82.
Probably after I get my first job.
Probably now.
Probably like now.
I think you should start planning when you're in your 20s at the latest.
Probably in your 20s.
No.
Honestly, I would say about 43 or 44 because that's when I got married. So
Okay.
You start changing your priorities a little, like making sure that you're starting to put things in line because you now have a family.
Yeah.
Actually, when I first got my job, had some mentors who told me some good advice about time was on my side. So if I started planning now while I was young, I could just tuck a little bit away and hopefully retire early.
Actually, I think it's really important that you begin to plan your retirement from a financial aspect as early as you possibly can. Once you are employed with an employer who possibly offers 401ks, for example, a 401k, an employer will do matching funds. Sometimes they'll do 2 to 1, 3 to 1. So the maximum that you can give, it's important to do so. Also, most of the time people don't feel like they ever can afford to give anything. So you just have to bite the bullet and do it because you don't want to be old and poor. And then if you work for a government entity, there's something called a 403B. And a 403B is you contribute before taxes. So for example, if you put away $50 a month, it really only costs you $30 because it saves you some taxes. So there are lots of different, plans, but it's important to start as early as possible so that money can grow over time and accumulate.
Nice, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not at age 82. I've been semi-retired, according to my ex-wife, about 50 years because I've been running a volleyball clinic for an income while I was spending my time in developing different containers. So I've been doing the inventing for 40 or so years.
Nice.
And I finally got my first sale last year.
At least by their 40s.
Hopefully 70, 75. About 75.
Like 60 or 70.
I think I'll be about 65.
About 60.
70.
By the time I'm 65. So I'm 55 now. I could retire. It won't be a max retirement, but based on the company I'm working for and all. And if I wanted to, I could pretty much call it quits. The goal is to get the girls through school and then after that.
To you.
Well, in my generation, it was pretty much 65 because Social Security kicks in at 65. Some people go out at 63, but then you have substantially reduced Social Security. I actually went out at 67, but most people probably 65. Now, that's not true. Police officers, firemen, the IRS, certain categories like that are high risk, they get full retirement at 55, most of them. And oftentimes they will then take a second job, a different job that's not high risk, and work for 10 years, or until they want to. That's very typical with police. At the Port of Stockton, for example, there were 2 police officers that retired, and even the chief of police retired from a city police force, one in Oakland, one in Stockton, and then went to work at the port. Far less risk at the Port of Stockton than, say, a city police.
The stereotypical age is about 62 or 65.
I retired at 65, but I was coming from a disability.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do before you retired?
I was a secretary.
Definitely video gaming and hopefully like something at the country club. Be a member, like pick up golf. I don't know. We'll see.
Knitting and baking.
Spending time with friends and family, and hopefully I'll live in like a little retirement center so I have a bunch of friends.
I think I'll probably travel, paint, and try to find a new hobby.
Probably golfing for sure. Traveling.
My favorite hobbies when I retire will probably be traveling, golf, reading, my grandkids. Hobbies would be fishing, golf, things I like to do, and probably do some sort of coaching on the side just to, kind of keep income coming in and cover the bills.
Well, I always did a lot of editing. I was always good at grammar and punctuation, so I have edited master's theses for 3 of my friends' children, and I read a lot. I'm an avid reader, both fiction and nonfiction. I take my grandson to and from basketball practice and baseball practice, and that keeps me busy and I enjoy it. I have designed 2 houses for friends along with the architect. Where the architect doesn't, then they send it back and you revise it. Anyway, I've done 2 and then totally decorated both those houses. And I've decorated 2 other houses in addition to that. It's kind of been a hobby all my life.
That's awesome.
And let's see, what else do I, that's pretty much it. I garden. I love to garden. I come here to the Fulton house and blow the leaves. That's not my favorite thing, but it's good exercise, so it's some exercise, maybe not good. My cardiologist probably wouldn't say good, but.
You've met Penny, the dog that I inherited. She has become my 3rd child. My kids think that had I treated them like I treat Penny, I would have been Father of the Year. Penny has made me feel like a young father again because I have to do certain things with Penny, feed her and bathe her and take care of her. Sometimes when I want to just kick back and do nothing, she tells me, let's go to the university.
I like to play in my garden, and I love to do crafts.
And then what'd you do this weekend?
This weekend, I spent with 8 of my friends, hanging out, went to a play, went out to eat.
Mm-hmm. No Elvis this time?
We had Elvis last week.
Last week?
We went to see Elvis Impersonator, and there was 10 of us at that time.
Hopefully it's voluntary, but I don't know. My body's already bad, so it might be forced. We'll see.
Hopefully voluntary.
Probably optional.
I think it'll be voluntary.
Yeah, probably voluntary.
Forced.
I think it'll be optional. I think it'll be my choice. And then, retiring would probably be my decision. I mean, I've already pretty much started laying out terms for what I will and won't do for the rest of the program. So I would say it would be more on my decision than getting forced out.
No, it was optional.
It was optional.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I was sorry after I did it. I wished I'd have stayed longer. because the first year I was I was kind of bored. And one thing I didn't mention when you talked about retiring and the importance of planning, the other thing that's important to plan, going back to your very first question, is socially, not just financially. And you probably should do that 6 months or a year before you retire. I have a lot of friends that are docents at the Hagen Museum. I joined the Hagen Museum. I didn't want to be a docent because I didn't want to be tied down to a schedule. I had worked for 46 years and I wanted the freedom of go and come and do what I wanted. But I joined and I go to a lot of their events. The Symphony is another one. The Philomathian Club. It's good to, join some clubs, and particularly if you don't have a lot of hobbies, to kind of plan ahead socially from that point of view.
It was actually optional.
Because it was your disability?
Yeah.
All right.